Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's enjoying the marathon so far. I'm MrCab. We're here to play Mega Man 5 for Game Boy, as we affectionately call it, Mega Man V. Now, this game, it's clearly not Dr. Wily. We have the nefarious Terra, the Earth robot, if you're playing on the Japanese cart. Impervious to the Mega Buster. What are we going to do? This was a game released late on the Super Game Boy, so just so it's on screen for 5 seconds. There's the Super Game Boy background. Cool. We're going to play with it for fun today, and we're going to start this run in just a moment. We might get to see a flash of the cutscene that's not normally in the speedrun because of a lack of a soft reset, but whatever. 3, 2, 1, let's go. There it was. So, unlike every other Game Boy Mega Man game, we have kind of an original cast of robots here. It's not taken off the NES at all. The only characters that we'll recognize are Mega Man, Rush, Dr. Light, you know, maybe one other one later on. Instead of the Buster, we have the Mega Arm. So Mega Man literally fires his fist across the air to do the 3 points of damage. And it is probably one of the most overpowered Busters in the series. I might be late on this jump. No, okay, we hit him anyway. That's a tight jump to be able to get that shot. It saves 4 seconds over the next best strategy. And, yeah. Believe it or not, this is actually the checkpoint of the stage, so here we go. Otherwise, this game kind of controls a lot like the other later Mega Man Game Boy games that have slides. We have up canceling for slides. We have our Buster. Oh, what? And so much lag that we were actually joking about it in my chat a little while ago. This game makes Mega Man 3 on NES looks like it runs smoothly. So there's a couple of damage boosts. Early on in this game, there are a couple of stages where you just take a lot of damage. And you have to kind of be ready to get through the rest of the game. Can we get the pipe jump? Nope. Mega Man 3, sometimes you'll hear people talk about 5 frames to make these slide jumps. In this game, I think it's 3. If you don't make it, oh well, we just go through anyway. So this is our first and last kind of break of the run, at least in the middle of a stage. Or we just have to wait these out. Nothing you can do about it. Just wait for that to come back. And there's our first 2-spike slide. Part of this game being like super laggy in general is that we do have to kind of navigate these sections a little carefully. Have some timing mechanisms. Okay. And all this really just comes down to we have to be ready to fight these bosses with really like very low health sometimes. Neptune has a super laggy attack if we stay away from him, so we're going to try and stay close to him. We're going to use half charges on the Buster as much as we can. I think I hit him with a lemon. That actually accidentally turned into a nice demonstration of that when Mega Man's fist is coming back to him, it still does the 3 points of damage. So a little bit of dancing around there, and we have a short break in the action. So this game, I think, does have one of the best sets of weapons across most of the Mega Man series. It starts with something called Salt Water, which sounds kind of lame. It's actually quite powerful. Obviously has the literal splash damage effect going on for it, too. So that's a strong weapon we'll see a lot of through the run. Off to Mercury. If you haven't seen this game, it's out there. There's a kind of Game Boy Color remaster hack that's out there. I think this is... Well, you can't get it on the 3DS anymore, I guess, but it was re-released on it. This is our obligatory conveyor belt stage. And a little wiggle there so we don't get hit by the just a ton of damage. It's invincible while it's holding the like giant piece of dust. Okay, that's good. We made it across the pit. You saw Mega Man got hit while he was moving right, and he actually got boosted to the right. This game actually acts a lot like Mega Man 11, which means 11 acts like this game, in that Mega Man will get knocked back kind of in the direction that makes sense based on which half of Mega Man gets hit by the attack, as opposed to always going backwards or the facing of the enemy. So this is Mercury. Here's Mercury's gimmick. Just bounces across the screen, splits up. It turns out that this is entirely dependent on Mercury's hit point total. So we're doing 3 points of damage, so like even and odd is switching as we're hitting him. And you might say to yourself, well, MrCab, if that other pattern is faster, why don't you just always use the faster pattern? It mostly boils down to the number of cycles overall. It's about 2 seconds slower if you go for all fast patterns. But we're going to kind of slide in here to get a half charge every time and do 2 points of damage to get these last couple of cycles to go fast. Really sliding just so that we don't shoot a lemon at all, because you can start charging in the middle of the slide. Oh, we're back. Missed that, sorry. So, any interruption that needs to come in from the tech side during weapon get screens, jump right in always, because otherwise we get to just talk about weapons. This attack looks like nothing, but the Snatch Buster, the Grab Buster, whatever we're calling it, depending on which region we're in, actually steals health from enemies, so it's really good for that alone. It also does 2 points of damage as opposed to your normal lemons that only do 1. And we're going to use it for that property in Mars' stage. Mars' stage. It's super laggy. Heckin' Mars' stage. This is why I don't sing on stream. I'm not good at it. Seriously, this stage is incredibly laggy. We kind of talked about it a little bit already, that like this game makes Mega Man 3 NES look great as far as its frame rate goes. This game tends to lag based on how many things are in the air, whether it's shots, explosion animations, jumping enemies, like these, I don't even know. So this stage is just a mess. Yet it still runs. Everybody hates the stage. It's Mars' stage. It's true. We've got a couple of the other Mega Man V runners out there in chat, Nublar and Manix, so feel free to hit them up with any questions you have too. They've both come in and just like destroyed this game, which is great. So yes, we have switched to the Grab Buster, as previously mentioned, because it does 2 points of damage per shot. We want to try and collect these like floating health drops because, again, things in the air lag the game. Those floating health drops coming back to you are things flying through the air. So we want them just out of here. This spiny in the air that we're just going to damage boost off of, we're going up to jump into that specifically to get it out of the air to make it despawn. We got this Tremaine boost. Tremaine ran this game a lot with me way back in like 2014, 2015. So we got that boost off the edge so we can fall down here with the iframes and get past that kind of spiny tank creature. There's another mid-boss. Cool, we made it. So saltwater, you might have seen those two shots take really different arcs. It actually is influenced by which buttons you're pushing on the D-pad. Whether it goes all the way across the screen, takes a high arc, takes a really low arc. So these are kind of neutral shots. Where's that first shot? And these shots are all like forward holding shots. It's our first Robot Master we actually have a weakness to use against. And that's not by not entirely by choice. That's the first one it's even possible to have it. see people talking about Mega Man 2 Game Boy soundtrack out there in chat. This game does have exceptional music. 2 Game Boy, I think, well, it happened as far as its soundtrack goes. Definitely also like check out. There's a couple of remasters of this soundtrack out there from Rush Jet 1. And they work pretty well. Speaking of the soundtrack, I don't know, like, this feels like it's not Mega Man music, but it's so good. We want to talk about lag a little bit more. These bees literally, like, if they sting you, they lag Mega Man. That's their entire attack. Alright, cool, we made it. Those waterfalls are active, like, kind of video game waterfalls. They push you down. If you're standing underneath one on the ground, you will get pushed, just washed right off the stage. And after that whole section with the missiles, we don't want to use all of our missiles. We need them for Venus himself. I said if you're, you know, as long as you're not moving on the ladder, you don't get pushed and washed away. If you try and climb it all, though, it's all over. Eddie, also in this game. Eddie's going to be very important later in this run, actually, believe it or not. Don't hold right. These bubbles that create this nice, big, bouncy floor are awful. I'm going to see more of them in a little bit. I broke the cardinal rule of doing a marathon run. I did something I never did in practice this week. Jumped across there. Those bubbles will just capture Mega Man. Okay. Okay, we made it. This is my least favorite room in the entire game. I will vouch for it as being the worst room in the game. That double spike slide with the bubble floor and everything else going on, it's just impossible sometimes. Okay. Sometimes you just play a game enough, and every time you get to one of these like jumps where it's really easy to bonk, all you can do is remember all the times you've bonked and died there. It's like, oh no. Just go, Cab. Just go. So, anyway, we have a Star Droid ahead of us here, the robot masters of this game. Venus has a somewhat manipulatable pattern in that every time you shoot, he jumps to attack. Wow, this is being a bully. So you can kind of plant those missiles because they just hover there in the air for a moment and do a lot of damage. So that's Venus' stage. Hey, we beat the first 4 Star Droids. So we have a long cutscene coming up where we can sit back and just kind of regroup. Bubble bombs are actually a really powerful weapon. They're also extremely laggy because explosions lag this game like crazy. Also, we get Rush Coil. Don't start with Rush Coil in any of the Game Boy games, so there's Rush. I think this cutscene is about 16 seconds shorter on the Japanese cart, which is what we're playing on. I think over the entire run, it's something like 28, 29 seconds that you save by playing on the Japanese cart. Submissions to the leaderboard do get sort of equalized based on that. So don't worry if you are playing the US version. Mega Man's very confused that nobody's here at the Star Droid headquarters. Some terrorists here swearing vengeance upon Mega Man for having destroyed his allies. It says Dark Moon attack. You might wonder who Dark Moon is. Not this again. So there is a strategy to try and get a one-cycle kill on this game's version of the Yellow Devil. It's impossible. I think that last one's gonna dink. Yeah. You basically need to plant the missile in its face, move back, wiggle back to plant a missile in the air so it doesn't immediately hit him, but it'll hit him after the next missile you plant in its face, and you can actually hit him 7 times in one cycle. It's crazy. After the 4th step, that's when you start just hitting shots in the air. And that's the more traditional 2-cycle kill. But of course, that's 20 seconds. The impossible strat. So Dr. Light here is freaking out that there's star droids in space. They're massing power and they're going to attack Earth and we'll be powerless to stop them. Mega Man, for once, actually says, why don't we go after them first? Dr. Light makes a thinking face emoji and then says, okay, where are we in the menus now? I'm pushing the B button to escape the lab, and because it's a Super Nintendo controller, and we're on Super Game Boy 2 right now, B is actually A, so my brain just got short-circuited there. Leaving the shop is push the B button when you don't have anything going on. You can use the D-pad to make text go by. So there's a lot of like little tricks to kind of get yourself out of the shop once you get once you realize you can't read Japanese. But that is a forced shopping trip. You get offered to go buy things there. You can go to the shop from the menu at any time, from the stage select at any time. We want 1 W tank for later. There's some newer routes that are getting developed now that don't use any W tanks at all. There's some older kind of strategies to say, I want enough P chips to buy 2 W tanks just in case. And that tank just did 8 points of damage. We only have 19 hit points. So that is one of the single most devastating attacks across the entire franchise. And we just got hit again. Oh my goodness, what is going on in the stage? Okay. This is almost serious time here. So saltwater is really effective in this stage. I gotta actually make this jump. This could kill me. It's very easy to jump into the side of that falling beam, and I don't have the life to take it, and the checkpoint was only there. Okay. So yeah, I think somebody joked about it in chat that Mercury is also the get out of jail free card for this game. And that right there very easily kind of displays why. That's actually really good. So here's the second tank we have to try and get around. That's another situation where it's very easy to not get that D-boost, and then you've taken, even if you're playing the rest of the stage perfectly, 16 points of damage from the 2 tanks, and you have 3 hit points left. Which is why, especially in a marathon setting, you kind of want to make sure you start using Mercury immediately. I think I was starting to say it, and I didn't actually get to say it. You might notice there I have a lot of Mars ammo missing. That's all from Dark Moon, the Yellow Devil a minute ago. In this game, so in Mega Man, Game Boy 2, 4, and 5, the second 4 robots, you do not get your weapon energy back between stages. It's like the NES game Castle stages. Proto Man, good guy Proto Man, giving us an S capsule, which will refill our health and all of our weapons. There's 2 places in the run where you are forced to meet Proto Man. That's one of them. And in that one, we absolutely want that S capsule to get that Mars ammo back. Here's Pluto, who's weak against the weapon that heals us. So we got him down to 4 hit points, and decides he wants to go up to the ceiling. Fortunately, he takes damage from the bubble bombs. They're super laggy, but it's still faster than waiting for him to come down. Optimally, we hit Pluto with one more Grab Buster shot before he goes up there. Yeah, the Proto Scam is definitely later. Oh my goodness. So, Pluto gives us the single most broken weapon in Mega Man history. The Break Dash. It doesn't look like much, but he gets iframes after he uses it. Can you imagine giving a speedrunner a weapon that gives you iframes? So we're going to take that right over to Jupiter stage. This is probably the one of the more technical stages in the run, just because of this first screen. We're going to try and not die to the first jump. And we didn't die the first jump because we fired a shot and that lagged the game a little bit. Don't do that, Mega Man. So we're going to basically through this entire screen, we have these Jupiter Joes. I don't know what their name actually is, but they act a lot like Sniper Joes. And that you can't shoot them while they're charging their shots. And we have these like magnet things. Point is, we're using Pluto and those iframes to just tear through a lot of things that would require waiting or other strategies to get around without it. Sliding here forces that enemy into that pattern. What? Okay. I didn't get my dash on that platform. It's a 2-tile wide platform, so I panicked. I just decided to kill him and not go on with it otherwise. Okay, this is the hardest jump in the game. We made it. It's very easy. This is the checkpoint room, so if you fall in that pit, you have to do the entire stage all over again. And it is really easy to get knocked back into the pit on that jump. So, Break Dash. A little more technical details on it. If you fire it uncharged, you just get a lemon, which is very nice, because it means that doesn't use any ammo. So we can just use the Buster when we want to. It has 3 levels of charge. It's like 15 frames, 30 frames, and 60 frames. And each one of them uses progressively less... Well, earlier charges use less ammo. And you might see a Mega Man that's stopped flashing as I'm like going through these enemies at the end. If you're familiar with the Mega Man 4 NES speedrun, you know that Flash Stopper kind of works based on how long is Mega Man sliding, and like the timer doesn't run. For whatever reason, the iframes... Oh my god, what's going on here? The iframes from the Break Dash work the same way, in that if you're sliding, they just don't go away. And once you kind of realize that's what's happening and why you can make it, that weapon feels a lot more comfortable to use. So that's the harder version of the Jupiter fight when he has ice on the ground. And yeah, if we have anybody coming in here, I know we're trying to raise money here for No Kid Hungry, so keep the donations flowing in, everybody. Electric Shock is actually a fun weapon. If you're playing on the 3DS, it actually does not kill the enemy on that screen. It's kind of funny. Shoutouts to Brooke. But Electric Shock has a hitbox that's a lot bigger than it looks. It destroys some shots. It does an incredible amount of damage. It is... If Break Dash is sort of like the movement weapon of this game, Electric Shock is definitely the damage weapon. It's the powerhouse. So we've got some gravity sections here. Like, it just stays out forever, so you can kill a lot of enemies. The only problem with the electric shock is you can't walk with it out, but you can jump and you can slide to cancel it. Definitely want that weapon drop. If that was a weapon drop, we were going to fill something else. So Eddie's let us down once. We have one more visit from Eddie later on. Just going to damage boost through this to save a Jupiter shot. So now I've used enough Jupiter. If I see weapon drops, it doesn't really matter which weapon I get it, collect for it. Some dangerous low gravity jumps under some spikes. So here you can see that shot. You can just barely hear it. Gets destroyed, which is the whole reason that strat works. Otherwise, you probably want to use either Venus or Neptune to take that enemy out, because it literally just lags the game. So here's Saturn, who is incredibly weak to the electric shock. Pretty much any other weapon, that fight is literally minutes long. Saturn has like a black hole attack that just absorbs every shot. If you're firing your Mega Arm at him, like Mega Man's hand is just kind of like trapped there. It can't do anything. And you're stuck there like, oh no, what do I do? It is the screen clearing weapon of the run. Which we might use it to do that once or twice. Just for safety's sake. We also get Rush Jet. It's kind of a weird thing to say. This is probably one of the only Mega Man games where if the speedrun goes correctly, if it goes well, you never see Rush Jet. Except that screen. The bubbles are like really, really effective in this game. It's so true. If they weren't so laggy, I think the bubble bombs would be seen a lot more in the run. Check out that DX version of this game that's out there. I wanted that drop. Okay. Here's Rush Coil. This is the Rush Coil stage. As soon as I remember where these go. First one's too low. So yeah, part of this run, there's a lot of improvisation that comes in when you stop getting ammo. All the music in this game is so good. Eddie. Okay, we have 3 shots of this weapon left that we like to use. Well, I said it might be a safety earlier. Now it's a necessity. Birds are jerks. We're back. This is definitely a screen where you actually really want to have Jupiter too, because that enemy is a pain otherwise. Just walk over, slide back. Cool. There is a strat to defeat this boss with Jupiter instead of Mars, which requires then less pausing. But the hitbox is obviously very high, so it's a little tricky to get those shots to connect. This room is a little bit of a trap, because if you jump straight out, you will hit those spikes. You can do this room with Pluto equipped, and just make sure you don't accidentally dash off a ledge. After being hyped up so much, we haven't used Pluto in a little while. It turns out it's Uranus's boss weakness. Every other attack does 1 point of damage. So here's Pluto. We're just going to dash over. And before Uranus can even jump around and shake the whole screen, Pluto just tears him up. 4 hits, doesn't matter which charge level it is. I think Break Dash does the same amount of damage no matter what. It's just a function of how far does Mega Man run across the screen. Alright, cool. 8 robots. So in a game with so many good weapons, this is probably the quote-unquote bad one, but it's also, it's basically the super arm. It's Gutsman's weapon. So it is what it is. For some reason, Mega Man arrives here and is then surprised when Terra shows up. So again, much like the Mega Man killers and other Game Boy Mega Man games, Terra's here to have a climactic battle with Mega Man. Maybe we'll get a weapon out of it too. The lag attack. This is SpeedGaming, so we have to talk about how many blue balls we get, I guess. But we do want to kind of kill something somewhat like this, so that Mega Man's kind of standing there on the top. If you cross the threshold of the center of the screen, Terra will teleport away. So the entire premise of that fight is that opening charge shot to do just enough damage so that the remaining blocks will knock him out. So we get the Spark Chaser from Terra, which is actually a really good weapon. We don't really have a good place to use it in the run, but it's good. So that's Mega Man V, right? We defeated all the star droids. They're all gone, and they're, oh no. We can't keep letting Dr. Wily get away with this. He's built a literal Death Star in space. So of course we have to go to Dr. Wily's Space Fortress, which just keeps getting bigger. But unlike some of the other games where you see Mega Man flying in Rush, we actually get the Rush Marine section of the game here. So we make the call. We've got an auto-scroller through some asteroids coming up, and then some little tiny fighters. Also some really good music. So after the asteroids always have the same pattern. After this, we get 8 of these like little small fighters. They appear at random points of the screen. They can move at 3 different speeds. They have 4 hit points each. Oh, come on. Well, we got one. Little known fact is if you push the A button, you get a boost. I always forget which side the first laser comes on. These lasers are also scripted. So we're lining up that kind of bolt behind Rush's head with the W. We want to get the front of Mega Man's helmet, even with that big star across the middle of the screen. So here's the super laser. If you're the TAS, you can land a full charge shot, a lemon, and a second full charge shot and be done with this in 3 cycles. We are mere mortals, so we want to get 5 points of damage in, and you might have noticed I only got 4, so I now feel bad. There is one cycle you're going to get 4 points of damage on anyway, so it's not the end of the world yet. It just means that we don't have that cushion anymore. So we're just looking for 4 cycles. You do want to be a little careful here. It's not vulnerable until after it shoots anyway. And your health carries over into the next screen. We don't get any more stage breaks to get a health refill in. Oh, I'm like looking at my splits now. That was some bad middle section of this stage. As random as it is sometimes, it's just, ugh. So now it's time for Break Dash to shine. Not going to make that. That's fine. So there are some little shortcuts here. That's really tempting, but I don't want to make this jump again. So again, we're making use of the fact that Pluto has this shoot just lemons function. And who's in here, we wonder, as if the game wasn't telegraphing it. I mentioned the Mega Man killers. Well, here they are. Here's Anchor. Just like Mega Man 1 Game Boy, Dr. Wily's Revenge, he's only weak to the Buster. And depending on how many Buster shots you hit him with, the shot gets bigger. Of course, now we have a charge shot, which we didn't have in Mega Man 1. So he goes down in 2 cycles. So now we actually have to make a decision here. We have 2 large weapons drops just kind of sitting around. So you have to decide which weapons we're filling up. The answer is pretty much always going to be Pluto and Jupiter unless something else happened. After that, it's Neptune, maybe Mars. Then Mercury, and if we're still thinking, we've had a lot of weapon drops in the run. Here is Quint. We were talking about Mega Man 2 Game Boy earlier, and it's fine music. He's weak to Hard Knuckle in Game Boy 2, so we're going to use the Mars missiles here. That photon missiles kind of behave the same. I've heard that analogy made. Very nice fall here. There are some platforms that you saw off to the side there, and they have some things sometimes. I mentioned earlier that your iframes last as long as you're sliding. That's why we just slid right through the bird's nest there. Those 2 passages, this fork in the road, is the only point in the game, by the way, you are forced to use a weapon. So if you're doing Buster only, that's your one use of Pluto for the entire run. There is a section that's kind of laggy and tricky to get through without rush yet, but it can be damage boosted through. No. SA is Saturn, not saltwater. Who writes this? So this is Punk out of Game Boy Mega Man 3, where he was only weak to the Buster, except now he doesn't like getting salty, I guess. Maybe the salt water rusts all of his metal blades. I don't know. Neptune's weapon, while really powerful, also is the only weapon in this game outside of fully charged Pluto that uses more than 1 point of ammo. So we just used a lot of it. Also, I guess I didn't get to say it earlier. You can up cancel your slides in this game, and I absolutely love that. So here's Ballad, Mega Man 4 boss, just like in Mega Man 4 Game Boy. And we're just going to hang out here for a second. He just doesn't know how to go to the wall. He just can't do it. It can't be done. It's impossible. He's weak to Venus bubble bombs as well as the photon missiles. We have a lot more bubble bombs and photon missiles, so we're going to use those. Poor Ballad. So we get our traditional refight section. This is going to mostly go about as you would expect. A little low on Mars ammo here, but that's going to be okay. There was once upon a time a Venus first route, so Buster strats for Venus are pretty much the same as Mars strats. You're just using the Buster instead. Well, if you're having fun watching this, please do come check out the Mega Man leaderboards. Come talk to us in Discord. This game's kind of hot right now, actually. A couple people grinding for the 46 and the 44. I'm sorry, everybody. I could not get the 2-cycle on Jupiter either time. Yeah, this is enough Neptune. You want to be careful on Mars here, because he's weak to Neptune, but the soft weakness is Jupiter, which, again, we only have so much of. Except we did fill it up good. We're too close. You can destroy those shots if you're just a little bit further away. And as we said earlier, Saturn is extremely weak to Jupiter and strong to literally everything else. So depending on how much Neptune you have, you might want to fight Saturn first just to be sure. Oh no! He used his other attack. If you react to it fast enough, he will freeze Mega Man in the air with the electric shock still out and actually hitting him. So it's perfect. So here's Spark Shot. It's one use in the run. Turns out Neptune's weakness, that first Star Droid we killed, is actually the Mega Man killer's weapon. It's a seeking laser. It's almost like it's Gemini-esque, except it actually works. It's actually a really good weapon. The only other time you might want to use it is against Dr. Wily. So maybe we have that to look forward to. He said as if there weren't people in chat who knew what was coming. Pluto, same fight. Oh, let's go for the swag kill. We got him! Obviously, we used Venus Bubbles earlier. You can still use them there. But if he's got only one hit point, let's face it, it's fun to get rushed into the game. So a fun strat here that's been kind of worked out. It's slower than this, but it's funnier. You can use the Deep Digger, Uranus's own weapon, and dig the ground out from under him and watch the boss die in a pit. So here, if you hold B for just a second, I'm going to let go of the controller, get this half charge. Now we have iframes. Mercury's weapon actually has the ability to steal some items, like that W tank we bought in the middle of the game, which we really, really want. So it's really good to come into there with I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name of Pluto's weapon. It's really good to come in there with Break Dash equipped and get those iframes just to be sure. And if you do a full dash across the screen, if Mega Man's not flashing, you can still lose an item even if you don't get hit. So, thus the half charge strat. As promised, here's Proto Man. Proto Man's nice. We got an E-Tank. Proto Man can give you an S capsule there again, which refills all of your weapons. So all of those weapons we just used and emptied on the refights and only filled the ones we want for the rest of the game. We get to sit there and watch literally about 8 seconds on average while it fills up. So here's the fists of some sort of giant wily machine. It shakes the floor to try and make it difficult to jump. It's weak against saltwater. We talked a little bit really early in the run about saltwater's arc kind of being affected by what directions on the D-pad you're holding. So as long as you're holding up, you'll get the high arcing shot that you want to hit it, even if Mega Man gets caught on the ground without your jump. Of course, what's the left hand without the right? So I'm listening for a music cue here. Hey, it's that W tank. They're both weak to Neptune. So there are strats that go towards don't buy a W tank. You can defeat the first fist with some buster shots with some Mercury. It's a new development. I'm an old boy for this speedrun. and have not been doing my continuous learning. So that's definitely something. This is the Wily machine. It's a fight where you have to sit through entire cycles of it doing things, and it will eventually sit out some like kind of time bombs that you have to use to come back, and that's the only way. Oh no. Well, it's the only intended way to damage it, and then you have the second phase of the Wily fight. What we actually did was use Break Dash to get iframes, stand inside its hitbox a little bit, and use Black Hole, which, for whatever reason, does a lot of damage. And as long as you land the last killing hit on the first phase with Saturn, you just skip to here. That's the Wily skip. Phase 2 is weak to the Spark Chaser, the Earth weapon. So we have Wily Capsule and Sunstar, who decides that he doesn't really want to work with Dr. Wily at all. Dr. Wily is very confused by this turn of events. This is Sunstar. If you're playing on the Japanese card, it will say Sun God in the credits. Sunstar takes 1 point of damage from all attacks. Don't be fooled by the damage table on the Mega Man homepage. Jupiter will hit him twice. So as long as everything does 1, we're going to use the Buster. And we're going to use the Break Dash to try and just avoid as many hits as we can. 2 shots. So the 6 points of damage, he will destroy the floor. And then another change patterns, another 6 point of damage, destroy the floor. And here we go. He wants to get up there and use the Rain Flush of all things. By the way, that's time. Man, we missed the sub 46 because I stood around in Ballad's room. The sub 46, sub 47. That fight is actually like kind of tricky if you don't know what's going on, if you don't know how to basically manipulate Break Dash to dodge literally everything. Yeah, and Sunstar's theme is really good. It's a shame we don't get to hear it very long. I think they actually use it in Rockman 4 Minus Infinity a couple of times too. But yeah, Mega Man offers to save Sunstar. So come back to Dr. Vice Lab. Sunstar's saying, "Oh no, my that's not going to happen because I have a nuclear reactor that's about to explode, and you should leave now." So we've got one killer fanfare at the end, but otherwise, I mean, thank you, SpeedGaming, for having me. Thanks everybody who donated, because I saw that total to go up a little bit during the run. Please help the No Kid Hungry cause. Everybody deserves to get their food. It's great. We have a good cause here. SpeedGaming's great. I'm just going to like stumble through words here for a little bit, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you everybody for the GGs in chat. And enjoy the rest of the marathon, because I think we've got more Mega Man. We've got a lot of good runs coming up tonight. I'm waiting for Luigi U later on too. So thanks everybody.